Hello, this is Chloe Blinkett, and I will be presenting on the top 10 best-selling cards in the Pokemon set Paldean Fates. So when choosing the top 10, I paid most of my attention to sales volume, market price, and market price changes, and this is because in my eyes, the best-selling cards are those that are selling a lot at a relatively, in my eyes, the best-selling cards are those that are selling a lot at a relatively high price considering card's history and the type of card it is. So how do I do this? I look at the top 15 on price charting. I look top 15 most popular on price charting. I look at the top 15 best selling on TCG Player. All of this related to the set, and then I take all those cards I collected and I rank them all based on individual categories. So price point, which is based off of the market prices given on price charting and TCG Player, I average those out. Price change, which is based off of the graph on TCG Player, and sales volume, which is based off of the graph on TCG Player, as well as eBay recent sales. Yeah, from there I calculate the final ranking using a point system based on their placements in each individual category to get my top 10. So what I mean is, if you're first place in price point, in this case, we're using, I think, we collected like 18 cards in total. If you're first place in price point, you get 18 points, and then if you're last place in price point, you get 1 point. And then do that all across all of the individual categories, add them up, and that's your final score. From here, each slide will contain an explanation of why I believe this card is within the top 10 and why it's in its placement. And then I will also have an honorary mention at the end that I include because it caught my eye, and for some reason I actually might have multiple. I will also have honorary mentions at the end that I include because these cards caught my eye for one reason or another. And yeah, let's get started. The first place one is Charizard EX054. Of course, it's a Charizard card. This is a double rare, which is interesting. I pointed out because most of the time, the best-selling cards for a Pokemon set will only be full arts or illustration rares. I say full art. When I say full art, I'm referring to cards where the art takes up the whole entire card, not specifically just illustration rares, but they're more often than not illustration rares. But yeah, as you can see, this is not a full art, this is a double rare. And as to why it's up here, this is not a full art, it's a double rare, and it's just interesting that it's up here. That's an important thing to note. As to why I think it's up here, this is a Charizard card. Charizard is one of the most popular Pokemon within the fandom, and so its cards always sell well. Basically any Charizard EX instantly becomes one of the most bought singles in the set. In addition, this card is a less rare and more playable version of other rare Charizard cards, which we might touch on later. And so this makes it the more affordable and therefore more frequently bought version. And then, like I said, there are other Charizard cards that we may or may not look at within this set. And so many buyers will buy this card just so that they can have all Charizard cards. I should change that to collectors. Many collectors will buy this card simply so that they can have all Charizard cards. Another thing that I realized I forgot to know, this card has an alternate version. It has a jumbo card version, which is a little bit more expensive. But the fact that it has an alternate version just ups its buyability because it ups the collectability having another version of the card, and then it also just attracts attention to the card through having a popular version. Yeah. Number 2, this is Pidgeot EX221. This is a shiny ultra rare, which the shiny part is what we focus on. But this is a full art, which you can see. But this card specifically is a shiny ultra rare, which means that it is not only an ultra rare card, which is a rarity tier that tends to attract collectors, but it's also a card that displays a shiny version of a Pokemon. In this case, we're looking at shiny Pidgeot. In terms of Pokemon popularity, Pidgeot is a well-known and well-liked bird Pokemon as it tends to carry nostalgia appeal, and then shiny versions of Pokemon in general are very popular, and that's because they're more difficult to obtain in, I think, any form of Pokemon media that exists. And then the artwork, in this case, we're going to talk about art style. This art style matches that of other shiny ultra rares in the set, and so collectors will try to get them all, and what that means is collectors will buy this card just so that they can have all of the cards that look similar to each other within this set, and so that ups its demand and buyability. Number 3, so this is our third place card, Paldean 225. This is an illustration rare and a full art, which makes it immediately attractive to collectors. Something unique about this set that you'll also notice is that basically all cards, whether it's a shiny rare or shiny ultra rare or not, will have the shiny version of the card. The Charizard is the exception right now. It might be our only exception in the top 10, but you'll see a lot of shiny versions of Pokemon within the bestsellers of this set. And so this Paldean card shows the shiny version of the Paldean. Paldean's shiny form was very highly anticipated, which raised Paldean's popularity both inside and outside of shiny form, and so that boosted this card. In terms of this artwork, Paldean is normally quite a vibrant Pokemon. Outside of its shiny version, it's like a very cobalt blue. And so this contrasting artwork and shiny color palette attracts the eyes of fans and collectors because it's so against what Paldean was known for. And yeah. Number 4, Wugtrio. Wow, I never said that out loud before. Number 4, Wugtrio 224. So this is another illustration rare card. So we have the full art, and this also features a shiny version of Wugtrio right in the center here, the purple one. Wugtrio as a Pokemon is one of those Pokemon that are popular because it looks funny. And because it has long-standing joke relevance and appeal, it tends to stay popular because it stays funny. But yeah, and then as mentioned before, shiny Pokemon in general attract the eyes of fans and collectors. As terms of artwork, this is calm, scenic, full art with a detailed art style, so that tends to attract fans and collectors. It also matches the nature of Wugtrio very well with its scene and the type of posing that the card has. Number 5, Pawmi 226. This is another illustration rare, full art, so it has that effect. Pawmi specifically is a very well-liked Pokemon due to how cute it is and how it carries a similar appeal to Pikachu. A lot of like Pikachu adjacent Pokemon do quite well, and so this is one of them. In terms of artwork, this is another calm, scenic full art with a detailed art style. Full arts that show like peaceful scenes or daily life tend to do very well, and that's one of these cards. And then sorry, I just noticed something's wrong. And then we also have a very fitting kind of vibrant color palette. And then also the shiny version of Pawmi, because it is pink, just tends to be well liked. And so because it features the shiny version, it'll be up there. But the art style and the artwork is just very fitting for the type of Pokemon it is, and it is very appealing to fans and collectors. Okay, number 6, Charmander 109. This is not a full art, but it is a shiny rare. And so that indicates that while it isn't the rarest card, and while it isn't a full art, it exclusively features the shiny version of a Pokemon, and so it is up there in price. Not in price, it is up there in ranking. Not only that, there's also Charmander. Charmander is a very popular Pokemon since it is a Gen 1 starter, and the first form of the Charizard evolution line, which Charizard is one of the most popular Pokemon. And then Charmander is also just almost always constantly relevant to the narrative in anime and games. Outside of that, in terms of collectability, other shiny rares have the same art style, and so similar to how we talked about before, the Pidgeot has a similar art style to other cards, and so collectors will try to get all of those cards. The same thing applies to this Charmander card and other shiny rares that we're probably going to encounter. This is also an affordable Charizard adjacent buy, so because of how much more popular Charizard is and how much more attention it tends to get from Pokemon, Charizard cards tend to be more expensive, and so this is just a more affordable option while also being a shiny version. Next we have another shiny rare. This is Mimikyu 160. It's a shiny rare, so it carries that rarity factor. Mimikyu is another adjacent Pikachu Pokemon, and so it's naturally quite popular. There's also a very mysterious nature to Mimikyu, with its backstory as well as its presence within the anime and the video game. And then it carries the collectability from being a shiny rare, the same thing as basically Charmander. Yeah. Gardevoir EX217. So this is our number 8 card. This card is a shiny ultra rare, and because it's a shiny ultra rare, it has a similar art style to our number 2 Pidgeot up here, and so that adds to the collectability already. In addition, Gardevoir is just a generally well-known and well-liked Pokemon due to its design, and its presence within the narrative of the game and anime, as well as its presence in competitive play, both I think in the TCG and BGC. And it also just has a well-liked shiny version. A lot of people like the blue and the red. And so character popularity boosts it, collectability is a factor, and then we also have the rarity of it being a shiny ultra rare and just an overall shiny version of a Pokemon. Number 9 is our trainer card. Why do I point that out? Okay, first of all, this card is a special illustration rare, SIR, as it indicates on the slide. These are highly sought after by collectors since they are rarer than illustration rares and tend to be of higher quality. And then this card also benefits from the full art trainer effect. The full art trainer effect is what people call this thing where for some reason full art trainer cards always do well or always perform well in sales. There's just something about a human on a Pokemon card that fans and collectors really like and that appeals to them. So that benefits this. Clive's role in Scarlet and Violet made him memorable to fans due to his narrative relevance. He is very present in the video games, so he's very memorable. He carries a lot of lore relevance, and so that makes him well known among the fandom. And in terms of the artwork, not only do we have clean composition and framing, and also full art that captures daily life, which I mentioned before is quite popular, but we also have the addition of other trainers in the card, so that also broadens the appeal of just getting this card. You don't have to just like Clive to get this card. You can like any of the other trainers in this card. Yeah. Now we are at our number 10. This is Ditto 201. We're back to the shiny rares. So because this card is a shiny rare, it's the shiny version of a Pokemon, in this case Ditto. It also adds to collectability as it looks very similar to the other shiny rares that we saw, and so collectors are going to want it. And then Ditto, just as a Pokemon, is well liked due to its unique nature and also its utilization in games. Ditto is often used mainly for breeding in Pokemon video games, and so that makes him very searched for. He is also just funny looking, which adds to the appeal, similar to Wugtrio, where Wugtrio has keeps his popularity because of how funny looking it is. Ditto's quite similar. And yeah, I think that is it for our top 10. Now we can get into our honorary mentions. Our first honorary mentions are our Mews, Mew EX216 and Mew EX232, both shiny versions of the Mews. So these are considered the main chase cards of this set, considering the popularity of Mew, considering it's a legendary Pokemon and very narrative and lore relevant, and how well liked its shiny version is since it's a light blue. The artwork for both of them is also done very well. The Mew EX216 is, I think, matches the other shiny ultra rares we saw with the Pidgeot and the Gardevoir. And then the Mew EX232, which I think is either an illustration rare or a special illustration rare. It's just very cute, very nice to look at, very vibrant, captures the nature of Mew very well, and so it would be very appealing to collectors. The reason they're down here numbers-wise is because of their sales volume, which is affected by their price point and rarity. They just didn't sell at all, and I think it's the same thing as the next card we're gonna look at, where it's just because it's so rare and so sought after, its price point is also going up, and so people will tend to not buy it, as well as just not sell it in general because of how well liked these cards are. And then we think that pattern moves on to this really nice card. This is a very well done, beautiful Charizard card. This is Charizard EX234. I expected it to be up there because of how pretty it is. Oh, give me a sec. I'm almost done recording a video, so you just don't have to be quiet for a bit. Okay. It's like 4 minutes left. Okay, I'm back. But what was I saying? Yeah, this is just a very well done, beautiful Charizard card. It's also a Charizard. So Charizard, I don't know if I mentioned Charizard in here yet. I have. Charizard is like one of the most popular Pokemon ever among the fandom, so I'd expect this very beautifully well done shiny Charizard card, not to mention. Charizard has, I think, one of the favorite shiny versions because of how it's black and red and how different that is from its usual version. But it's just a very well done card that I'd expect to be up there. The reason it is down here calculation-wise is because of its relatively low price change and sales volume. As you can see from the graph here, its price change is just dipping, and it's currently at a very low. And so calculation-wise, it just couldn't be up here. My guess as to why this is, I think it's just to do with price point and demand. I'm not actually 100% sure. It's just been overall falling, and so because it's been overall falling, I couldn't put it in bestsellers. And then our final honorary mention, which is the Pikachu 131 card. This is another shiny rare, which matches with the others, and I would think it is up there because Pikachu basically always performs well. It's also Pikachu. It's the mascot of Pokemon, so its popularity is always up there. It usually always performs well, but it wasn't this time, and that's because its sales volume just unfortunately wasn't good enough to be considered. This is the 1-year graph. So within the past year, this card has only made 5 total sales on TCG Player, and so I just couldn't in good faith put it within our top 10 best-selling cards. And yeah, I think that is it for my analysis of the top 10 best-selling cards of the Pokemon set Paldean Fates. Thank you for listening.